I guess I'm at the forefront of it, and I think people, the normal Joe in Pennsylvania, are tired of not seeing how their money's being used, and I think this legislation will open it up. Well, I see it unfolding hopefully within a month. I have a meeting today with Common Cause and P&A, and because I want to do an amendment. My bill needs tweaks somewhat, but I just want to do one amendment, agreed to amendment by myself, and hopefully we can get it to the floor for a vote sometime in October. And I'm trying to get everybody on board. I'm not doing it for the newspapers, and I'm doing it for everybody in Pennsylvania. I'm doing it for the taxpayers of Pennsylvania, because before I even got elected, I had my attorneys draft this bill, and no one up here, I mean my own personal attorneys, before I even got sworn in, and I wanted to, I tell people, if you follow the money, you'll come to the truth, and basically that's what my bill does. You're dealing $27 billion. $27 billion. People, I mean, that's a lot of money. And we need accountability for that. I don't know how important it is over in the Senate, but I know it's real important over at this House, because when you elect 50 new members, I mean, things are going to start waking up. I think people are going to start waking up. Any taxpayer's dollars need to be accountable for. I don't care if they go to Penn State, Pitt, wherever. If they go to FIA, they need to be accountable for. This thing with FIA the other day, all those bonuses, how many kids didn't get their grants because of those bonuses? I mean, people need to wake up. And hopefully I can help wake them up. We need to make open records unified across the state. Most of these local governments they don't know what's open and what's not open. So we need to create a body that can tell them what is open and what is not open, where they can call and say, hey, is this record, am I allowed to give this receipt out? Is this an open record? And then they can reply in writing that it is. So you have all these different solicitors across the state, and forming their own opinions. I mean, we need to have one opinion, what's open and what's not open. Well, hopefully we'll be able to set up a definite entity that just deals with open records, where if you wanted to go get a record for sewage authority of how much they spent on pipe, and the sewage authority can call this office and ask if they're allowed to give it out. Okay, now if you wanted to go get a record, one of my expenses, instead of coming to my office or going to the chief clerk's office, you'd go get an opinion from that office, and if they say it's open, then there shouldn't be any problem. The real good thing about this is that you'd have an opinion from a state agency. Okay, it's open. You should give it to them. Now, if you don't want to give it to them, then you go to, then it's a lot harder to fight in court. I think it will speed it up. I definitely think it'll speed it up. When you have a written opinion from a managing office that really knows what the law is, then I think you're going to squash a lot of court cases. I think I have 24, but it'll probably grow to 28, because this day and age you have identity theft and that type of thing. We have to protect our citizen and make sure everything is exempt that needs to be exempt. say the floor plan of this building. You don't want to give that out, or any public building or whatever. You know, things like that. I mean, a driver's license, you shouldn't give out birth certificates or social security numbers. The ones I've talked to don't have a problem with it because they don't know what's open and what's not. And you know, they would suggest us in the Reform Commission that we have a judge in every county, but you still have 67 different opinions when it all comes down to it. You need one opinion, what's open and what's not. Only the emails that are personal. Now, if it's dealing with your legislative duties or public money, they're open. I think it's clear, but it will evolve because you don't know what technology is going to come out in 10 years. But I see it clear as day right now. I got a lot of weight behind me to push, but I mean, I've been here 8 months, and I've learned a lot in 8 months. I mean, I've been in business all my life, and if I ran the state like I wouldn't be in business. I mean, because it's just too much abuse, too much people not knowing where the money goes. And I have a lot of people that co-signed on to this bill, which I didn't think I would. I mean, Bill DeWeese and Keith McCall and Speaker O'Brien are already on top of this bill, so hopefully we can just get it through the House sometime in October. This is the first step of putting trust back into this House, because if we can't trust our legislature about the money, how are we going to trust them at all? I mean, how are we going to reduce taxes? How are we going to do anything if we can't trust them to manage our money in a proper way? Yeah, we're like a laugh. I mean, people laugh at us for, you know, I mean, they think all elected officials are, you know, underhanded or whatever, but it's time to open up the books and just show where all the money goes. Like I said, $27 billion. You got to let that sun in sooner or later. I just need help from the public. I mean, the private sector and the news agency. We need to push this. We cannot let this go under the rug. When the money's all accountable for, you know where the money's going. And that's the most important thing. People will know who are getting the grants, who's getting the contracts, and who's getting, you know, the dollar down to the last penny. And that's the most important thing, to put trust back into this, you know, government. And I'm not the most polished person to be doing this, but I have the fortitude to push to get it done, hopefully.